Imagine if Earth's history were a movie, and humans were just a fleeting moment in the end credits. Our planet has been spinning through the cosmos for about 4.6 billion years, but our human story began merely 300,000 years ago in the vast landscapes of Africa. Our ancestors embarked on wild adventures in nature, and during their journeys, they could have encountered creatures so immense that they would make today's elephants seem like mere puppies. One of the most famous of these colossal beings is the woolly mammoth. You've probably heard of this ancient giant, but have you met its lesser-known cousin, the Columbian mammoth? Unlike their furrier relatives that roamed cold regions, Columbian mammoths inhabited places from Canada to Mexico. These massive creatures sported shorter hair, resembling huge elephants, and they boasted enormous tusks, some spiraling up to a staggering 12 feet in length. These tusks weren't just for show, they served as formidable weapons against predators, including our early human ancestors. But the prehistoric world had more surprises in store. Imagine encountering a sloth, but not the slow, cute creatures we think of today. These were ground sloths, some as large as rhinos, and others, like the megatherium, were as colossal as elephants. Picture a 20-foot-long sloth, occasionally indulging in a meaty snack, a surreal sight indeed. Now, forget Bigfoot, meet Gigantopithecus, the largest primate to ever walk our planet. Standing at a towering 10 feet and weighing over 600 pounds, these gentle giants were more like distant cousins to orangutans than mysterious forest-dwelling creatures. Unlike Bigfoot, they didn't hide, instead, they peacefully roamed the ancient world until about 100,000 years ago when their lush, fruity forests gradually turned into dry grasslands. And then there's the quincana, a supersized crocodile that once roamed Australia about 1.6 million years ago. These crocs reached lengths of up to 23 feet and were far from lazy river loungers. They had strong legs for chasing prey and sharp teeth designed for slicing. Luckily for us, they stopped sharing beaches about 40,000 years ago. Ever heard of the elephant bird? It might not sound familiar, but picture a bird as tall as a basketball hoop, standing at 10 feet and weighing as much as a small car, a whopping 1,500 pounds. These birds laid massive eggs, equivalent to 150 chicken eggs combined. While much about them remains a mystery, recent studies have shed some light on their herbivorous diet and their closest living relative, the tiny kiwi bird. Finally, let's talk about dodos, those peculiar birds that once inhabited our world. Dodos were like distant cousins to Asian pigeons, weighing around 50 pounds, similar to chickens, turkeys, and ostriches. They couldn't fly and had small wings, but don't let their name fool you, dodos were intelligent creatures with a keen sense of smell. While we can't study them today, there are talks of potentially resurrecting dodos, bringing these fascinating birds back to the places they once called home. As we journey through Earth's history, we encounter a menagerie of prehistoric monsters, from towering mammoths to colossal crocs, saber-toothed tigers to massive bears, and intelligent dodos to gentle giants. Each of these creatures has left its mark on the tapestry of our planet's history, reminding us of the awe-inspiring diversity of life that has graced our world over the ages.
Quick pop quiz. What's called a tiger but isn't really one? It's the saber-toothed tiger. I mean, sure, they belong to the feline family, but they aren't technically tigers. First appearing around 42 million years ago, in July, I think. Many of their kind were gone before we even showed up. However, early Americans might have bumped into a couple of specimens from this group. If that really happened, it would have been quite the encounter. Think of the biggest wild lion today or the hefty Siberian tiger. These big cats also had some incredible features hidden in their fur. They were good at sneaking around, hiding, and pouncing on mammoths bigger than themselves. Their bite wasn't that strong, but they could open their jaws wide, like twice as much as a lion. And although their teeth were a bit on the weak side, they had buff forearms to pin down their dinner, giving those big fangs a purpose. Not the kind of kitty you'd want to play with. If you think bears are already big and fluffy now, let's introduce the short-faced bear. While this big creature stood on its hind legs, it towered at 14 feet. With long limbs, they could outrun today's bears, hitting speeds up to 40 miles per hour. These ultra bears sadly disappeared around 11,600 years ago. Dire wolves made their debut about 250,000 years ago. They were like the gray wolves we know today, but a lot stronger. While wolves these days stretch out to about 6 feet and tip the scales at 170 pounds max, dire wolves were about 5 feet and about 150 pounds. Found all over North and South America, they had admirable jaws, biting nearly a third harder than their modern counterparts. Also, their favorite snack was horses. But just like many other majestic beasts of the past, they faded away around 10,000 years ago. Next on our list is the cave hyena. Weighing a chunky 250 pounds and standing 3 feet tall, these beasts were as long as a grown-up lying down. What's even more interesting about these creatures is that they loved hanging out in groups. A pack could be as big as 30 of these animals, which meant they could easily take on even the biggest, heaviest mastodons. Our ancient families would have needed to stay alert around these hungry specimens. Sadly for these hyenas, about 20,000 years ago, their numbers started going down. Soon enough, they completely disappeared from the planet. Now, down in Australia, about 50,000 years ago, I wasn't around then, there lurked a relative of the Komodo dragon, the Megalania. Experts love to have debates on how big it was. Some say it stretched out to 23 feet. Others think it was just about 11 feet long. Either way, they were basically mega-sized Komodo dragons with a dangerous bite. Now, names can be deceiving. Take the American lion, for example. It's not really a lion, it's more of a panther's big cousin. The other part of the name is correct, though. They did live in America about 330,000 years ago. This feline was no lap cat either. They were at the top of the wildcat pyramid, weighing a colossal 772 pounds. That's like stacking 4 grown men on a scale. Even the mighty African lion would look a tad bit shy beside these beasts. With the muscle to take down a bison, you wouldn't want to accidentally interrupt their dinner. They parted ways with this planet around 11,000 years ago, right after the last ice age.